Oh, trends that have been and gone. Mountain biking is terrible for this one. But don't worry, the usuals aren't going to be on this list. 26-inch wheels, we're not going to mention them again. This is going to be some of the things that we really thought could stay, and then they were gone. It's crazy. Mountain bike just changes so fast. So let's take a look. Pressfit bottom brackets. Now, they're very common on road bikes, and us mountain bikers, we thought we'd try it out. We were hoping to get more stiffness at the bottom bracket area, more space around the rear wheel, but what we did find is lots of different widths, lots of different angle sizes from lots of different brands, but they all had one thing in common. Unless it was fitted absolutely perfectly, and that's not easy, you'd get this awful creak when you're pedaling. And when you're out on a mountain bike, pedaling do quite a lot of that. So it sounded horrible. And I tell you what, they're out of here. Semi-slick rear tyres. Now, these were all the rage at one point because it gives you really high speed, lack of rolling resistance. So you absolutely fly down the trail. Think of the tyre as basically lots of tread at the side and then very minimal tread in the centre. A little bit like a lot of the people in GMBN, you know? Lots at the side and nothing on top. These tyres can work in really dry conditions, but you know what? You really lose an awful lot of performance when it comes to braking, because when you're trying to anchor on those brakes as you're coming in towards the corner, you're not getting any of that bite with the rear wheel that you would normally get. So you put them heels down into the ground and you grab that rear brake, and then with that semi-slick, you just slide into the corner, and sometimes your speed seems to almost increase. It's really frightening. So the trade-off between grip when braking and high-speed rolling, the braking has won out. When Plus tyres first came out, I just thought they looked great, and I had them on my bike when I did the Back on Track video. Now, the idea of a Plus tyre was you'd get a much bigger footprint on the ground, and it was a great idea, and it looked fabulous, like I say. But you know what happened is basically the industry standard, or the norm for a mountain bike tyre, kind of grew up to the same size of a Plus tyre. Pluses used to be 3.0 to 2.8, and suddenly normal mountain bike tyres, really good racing competitive tyres, were coming up at 2.6 to 2.8. So the two things kind of met, and the Plus tyres notoriety dropped away because now that size is just the norm for a racing bike. This one makes me sad. Dual slalom and four-cross racing. Now, they do still exist. Events like Crankworx still run dual slalom races, and four-cross racing has still got its own World Series. But it doesn't get anything like the attention it used to get. And I used to really love seeing the top downhill riders racing dual slalom or four-cross, as it changed into in the years, before they did the downhill race the next day on the Sunday. It used to be a great way of seeing who's at the event and the talent they've got very close up and thinking how well they were going to do the next day on the downhill track. So I think it's a massive loss and I really miss it. Dual slalom racing will never be boring. So maybe this is a great moment to say, bring it back. This shouldn't have dropped away. It's not a trend that we should have forgotten about. Dual slalom racing and four-cross, it's still cool. Am I just being old? Don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think about dual slalom and four-cross racing? I don't think this one should have gone. Single-speed mountain biking. Now, this has been around forever. Going out on a mountain bike with just that one gear is a really challenging ride, and it can be super fun. It even had its own world championship. Not UCI official, but it definitely still exists. But it's faded away somewhat. It's not as trendy. Also, fixies. We had people like Chris Ackrig literally leaving mountain biking for fixie riding for a short period of time. It was the cool thing to be doing. And you know what? If you dive into London and see a few commuters, there's still some people fixieing their way around the town. But it's not getting the attention it did at one point. It definitely was a fashion, a trend. I hate to say it, something of a fad. First off, any helmet is good, okay? But, I hate to swear, the Pisspot helmet, come from the BMX and skate world, for a little period of time was a cool thing to wear when you're out on your mountain bike. But personally, I'm happy to say it has dropped away. No more cannonball heads out on the trail. That's because helmet technology has really improved. And if you wear a proper mountain bike helmet, they're really, really brilliant. They've got ventilation, all the protection you need. They're lightweight. And skateboard helmets, they belong on skateboards, not on mountain bike trails, and they haven't got all of that technology. So I'm not sad to see this one go. Motocross gear. Now, I used to love this look. I wore it a lot. And it comes from Sean Palmer. He came into the mountain biking scene in the 1990s and brought with him that supercross look. So suddenly everyone racing dual slalom, 4-cross downhill, and we're all wearing motocross baggy gear. You could get your pads underneath, it was really colourful, it looked great, and it stuck around for a bit. But you know what, mountain bike technology caught up, so now there is motocross influenced clothing in downhill that you can get your pads underneath, but it's slightly stretchier, more tight fitting, not quite Lycra, but it's still influenced by that very trendy look of the 1990s, but a little bit better. Last one, and I missed this, people just hucking it. There was a whole thing at one point in mountain biking where someone would find a cliff and ride off it. That's what mountain biking was. Our very own Chris Smith, very famous for a good huck. You know what? It's not really something anyone does anymore. The courses have really changed. Downhill has really changed, freeride has really developed, and just sending it off a big cliff is not only not really a good idea anymore, it's just not really up to pace because the riding has moved on so much. People are doing really, really massive jumps and really, really high speed, but they're putting tricks into these things and the bikes can now cope with the distances people are jumping. So I guess it died away because the bikes and the riders got a lot better, but the bravery of those early huckers should not be forgotten because they're who got us here. So well done, Chris Smith, you've done a great job. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Make sure you have liked this one so we can get it out in front of more mountain bikers. Don't forget to subscribe to GMBN, and if you've got something to say about this list, then the comment section is there for you below. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.